Hello, brothers and sisters. I'd like to express my appreciation to Tyler Hendricks for his video series, The Victorious Gospel of True Parents. It really reminded me a lot of the incredible foundation that Mother laid for many decades in her life of loyally supporting Father, and how much love I felt for her over those decades. So thank you, Tyler. I'd like to play a clip from Tyler's video, his third video, where he reads from Father's words from 1981.
Father went on to say, the most admirable point about Mother was that she believed in me more than in her own father, grandfather, or elder brother. She believed in me 100%. Thus, she overcame all the obstacles and established a firm position. On another occasion, Father said, whatever happened, even if she should die, she had to keep an unchangeable attitude toward her husband.
30 years later, on August 29, 2011, Father spoke about the future perfection-level blessing of true parents that was to take place on his birthday in 2012. Here's what Father said. By having the holy wedding ceremony of perfected true parents, when I become 93 and Mother becomes 70, we will enter the era in which true parents will go with all the blessed families, heading for perfected heaven and earth. Our birthday next year will be for this wedding ceremony. By having the wedding ceremony when true parents can proclaim their perfection. The day prior to the planned holy wedding of true parents in 2012, Father canceled the wedding. He gave Mother one more year to achieve unity. Since Father passed away before his next birthday, the following year, the final stage, the holy wedding ceremony of perfected true parents, the perfection stage wedding, it never took place. It never took place. If someone had come up to me two years ago and asked me if Father and Mother were united or not, I wouldn't have even understood the question. But that's the question that we're faced with at this time. You know, there's a term in psychology called cognitive dissonance, and I'd like to read you the definition. Cognitive dissonance is the mental stress or discomfort experienced by an individual who is confronted by new information that conflicts with existing beliefs, ideas, or values. And I think that this term cognitive dissonance describes my emotions and the emotions of many brothers and sisters when we look at our beliefs over many, many decades that true parents are completely united, and the things that we've been seeing in the past few years. So let me pose the question again. Is Mother displaying an unchanging attitude towards Father? Let's take a look at Mother's recent declaration in her speech, In Search of the Root of the Universe, on October 24, 2015. And says, the only reference to Father is that there was a rare flower growing by his grave, but there are 4 declarations about how Mother was born as a sinless only begotten daughter, and that how she was the fruit of all Christian history and all Korean history. And then there's another speech that Mother gave on December 6, 2015. In that speech, Mother said,
지금 여러분들이 나와 함께 일심, 일체, 일화, 일념의 자리에서 나아간다면은 승리할 수 있다 없다예요.
있습니다.
예, 여러분들은 축복받은 사람이다. 세상에 70억 인류가 있지만은 어찌하여 여러분이 나를 만났는가? 나로 말미암아 축복 가정이 생겼어요. 그렇죠?
예.
Mother says, "You are blessed people. There are 7 billion people in the world, but how is it that you met me? Blessed families have been made through me," she says. Blessed families are made through Mother? Wasn't there just Mother? Wasn't there someone else involved in making blessed families? Brothers and sisters in the Family Federation will say, well, Mother does make references to true parents, but I wonder if the term true parents has become a marketing tool, like a marketing brand like Nike or McDonald's, and a brand that's really being used to sell the latest theological products coming out of Chunpyeon. But I would say that maybe this brand is missing the original recipe. What can we conclude about the recipe of true parents when the blessing rings distributed in 2013, after Father passed away, had only Mother's name inscribed inside of them? Next, I'd like to share from Tyler's video called Succession 720 V2.
True Father said that filial piety is the first characteristic of the central successor. He said, "My successor among my sons and daughters will be determined in the same way. The one who sacrifices himself the most for the sake of God's will, the one who best exemplifies the principles of loyalty and filial piety."
The main points are that the successor must be the most sacrificial for God's will and exemplify loyalty and filial piety. Well, what did Father think about Hyunjin's standard? Here's what Father said. Today, at this time, there must be only one line of authority. The center, centered on Korea or on the world, over the entire Unification Church, will stretch out and become larger. From now on, I can have someone in charge of my work on my behalf. Currently, there is no one among our church members who surpasses Hyunjin in his standard of faith or in any other way. Do you understand? I am appointing him. That was on April 8th, 2008. And we see that Father made summer declarations every year in 2009, 2010, 2011, and 2012. There wasn't one time when Father expressed any doubt about his anointing of Hyunjin. Of course, 2 weeks after Father went to the spiritual world, Mother suddenly fired Hyunjin from all of his positions in Korea, and then he was sent to America, and then 3 months later he was fired from his position in America. So we would have to conclude that, you know, after Father went to spiritual world, he suddenly realized that he had been completely wrong about Hyunjin, and that Hyunjin was really a disobedient and unfilial son, and should not be trusted and must be fired immediately. Or perhaps that was actually Mother's idea, not Father's idea. Next, Tyler reads Father's words that the successor must be unanimously accepted by all, including the true family.
True Father said, True Father will appoint his successor. That successor must be known to all the Unification Church, all the blessed couples, and the true parents' family. They must all unanimously accept him. Now, we can clearly see that Hyunjin was not unanimously accepted by the true family or by Mother, and then the question is why? Why was he not accepted? Tyler goes on to read Father's words about the need for Hyunjin to be united with Mother. Father's words. This is the era of mother-son cooperation. When the era of mother-son cooperation is grafted into the era of father-son cooperation, blessed families can enter the era of father-son cooperation following true parents' family. Sons will be liberated through mother-son and father-son cooperation. We must enter into the era of father-son cooperation on the victorious foundation of mother-son cooperation through mother.
The era of mother-son cooperation was necessary. And then the question is, what was the reason for the breakdown of mother-son cooperation between mother and Hyunjinim? I'd like to play for you two clips from an interview that Yeonim made last November about this point.
Because they are the one who put their entire trust on father and mother. Father and mother.
When you say them, who do you mean them?
Hyungjin and Gukjinim.
Yeah.
They actually put trust on mother too, not only father. Yes, there was a friction between father and mother. There was, not agreement. There was sometimes, such a tense moment, but they could take it. They're adult. They have a husband and wife. I'm sure sometimes I really make my husband mad too. But the thing is, they still put their trust on mother, that mother will make a good decision. And a couple of times, Hyunjinim told, Hyunjin sees everything so closely. So Hyunjinim mentioned Gukjinim that, Gukjinim, you know what, maybe we should not put everything under mother's name, because everything was under Mother Mission Foundation, the big Cheonbok Church, the mega church in our church in Seoul, and then Cheongpyeong Foundation. Many things was under mother's name, because Gukjinim at that time, he was the head of the Korean Foundation, Business Foundation. So he actually persuaded other people to put things under mother's name, because father, after Denver, he did not put anything under his name. And then he said that is the right way to do, because he has a spiritual authority. So since father will not take any legal position, Gukjinim put all his trust to mother. And then he not only just it's a word or position, he put $50 million under her control.
Yeah.
So she put that money in Mission Foundation.
Right.
So he put all, so that, mother doesn't have to beg around the leaders when father is not there.
Right.
So Gukjinim, really prepared her way so that she can be a victorious true mother from inside and outside. He was really preparing for that.
So we can see in this interview how much effort Hyunjin and Gukjinim made actually to support mother and to give her the financial resources so that she would not need to be dependent on any church leaders or to be controlled by them. They wanted to help her. They wanted her to be successful. And now I want to share another clip from the interview where Yeonim explains the efforts that Hyunjin and she made to support mother.
So Hyunjin made even a card, made a prayer for father, made a prayer for mother so that they can recite. And it was like a little business card size card. And then I often distribute that to members. Whenever I meet members, I hand in that card, and we made it into 3 different languages. And we had a little ceremony, the regular ceremony. We actually asked the members to recite that. And Hyunjin was really actively supporting mother, even spiritually like that too. And then I also made a speech. There's one time I have to deliver a message because Hyunjin was away, and I talked about mother. Entire speech was about mother, how faithful wife she is. Because we want mother to be victorious. It's not that we don't know about the rumor and criticism and things that not going well with mother, with father. But we know that we want mother to be really victorious, and we believe that that was not mother's true nature. And that was our really real perspective.
You can see from this clip how much effort Hyunjin and Yeonim made so that mother could be a success. Next, I want to play a clip from Tyler's presentation about from Father's words on the order of authority in the true family.
Father said, the responsible person of the Unification Church is not Hyungjin or Kukjin. On top of Hyungjin, there is Mother, and on top of her, there is Father. Do you understand? Do not forget this. And order starts from one.
So Tyler says on top of Hyunjin is Mother. But he neglects to go to the next sentence where, yes, Tyler, on top of Hyunjin there's Mother, but on top of Mother there's Father. But true parents are one only if Mother is united with Father as her subject. If Mother is an equal subject and Father is a subject, there are two subjects. That is not the principal perspective. In the principal perspective, subject and object are one. That leads to progress. But in feminist power analysis, if there's a man who's a subject, the woman must also be a subject, and then there are two subjects. That's not divine principle. Mother showed no need to lift up Father when she said in 2014 the following statement: "Nobody educated me. God's only begotten Son and God's only begotten daughter are equal. You cannot say that God's only begotten Son educated God's only begotten daughter." Do you understand what I am saying? It's interesting. When Mother says, you cannot say that God's only begotten Son educated God's only begotten daughter, she's saying that would be an insult. She seems to be saying that it'd be insulting to her or demeaning to her to say that Father educated her. Why does she think that's an insult? From a principal perspective, that's an honor. But from a feminist power analysis, for a woman to be dependent in any way on a man is seen as an insult. She's not speaking from a principal perspective. In Houston, Mrs. Yu actually commented on this topic of Father raising up and educating Mother. So I'd like to play that for you.
Father said one time that in order for Father to become a Messiah, persecution and hardships is not enough. However, if Father have known that another job to make one woman to complete it, if that was the whole job to become a Messiah, he wouldn't take that job as a Messiah. That much it was hard to raise one woman to the point that they become a mother.
So we can see from Mrs. Yu that the most difficult thing that Father ever did was raising up and educating Mother. But Mother rejects that. Mother doesn't want to admit that she was educated by Father. Now I'd like to read a quote from the Divine Principle. When the object partner becomes completely one with the subject partner, their union can stand before God as a new object partner, resembling his dual characteristics. Moreover, the way for any object partner to stand as an object partner before God is by making oneness with its subject partner. So we can see here that Mother rejected Father as her subject. A clip where Yonem comments about Mother's relationship with Father in the last years of his life.
The dynamic, in my perspective, their dynamic really changed after 2006 when the Cheongpyeong Palace was built. Because since the Hannam-dong, the where they reside in Korea, is very tightly managed, right? But in Cheongpyeong Palace, it's a huge thing. So when father is away, I see mother time to time meet with the leaders separately while father is doing hundoke. So I thought, okay, mother is doing her work. I'm sure she has things to take care of, and that's what I thought. And then I just accepted it that way. And sometimes mother talks about that, to even our children, she says, oh, your Wangappa, which is true father, making my life so hard. And I thought, okay, maybe there's something they fought over. Maybe that's what I thought. And then I didn't really think about it as a really big deal, actually, because I understand that how they're husband and wife, and they can fight. That's actually what I thought. But as we, my husband and I, attended to father really closely, and after as she meets with other leaders and she voices out opinion, and sometimes I can see that conflicts with father. Many times when they are in Las Vegas, 전화고, many true family members go into their room, and then mother was really sometimes screaming at father, and father was quite upset at her. And there's a couple times that they fought and came out to do hundoke. So father, in the middle of a father is speaking, and mother just walk out. And then she shows visibly that she's angry in front of a member. She used to not do that. Even though she's angry, she'll walk out and she will try to calm down upstairs. But like last 2-3 years, she visibly showing she's angry in front of members, father. And then all the those kind of video was actually erased by the video crew.
So it's clear from Yeonim's interview that after the Cheongpyeong Palace was built, there was increasing disagreement and anger and frustration expressed on the part of mother towards father. And in case you believe that Yeonim is not a credible witness because she's biased, I'd like to play for you a clip from a talk that Mrs. Yu gave in Minnesota in December 9th.
やるためだと。だから UTS も全ての教科をみんな習うでしょ。それでお父さんが自信があるのは習ってもどうせこの統一教会の原理は最後だという結論を知ってるからやらせたで UTS 普通の他の教科の進学校と違うのはそれをお父さんが強調したから。ただお父さんはだってこのひどい観点で本人さんが仏教に導入するのを横見てあげたけどお母さんはそれが本当に嫌だからやめるとそこに恨みを持ったんですよ。
A true father was kind of embracing Hyunjin, what he was doing, like because he was shaving his head like a monk, but the father was saying like.
あらゆる宗教にも勉強されているんですよ。結論はどんなに勉強しても統一教会の原理は最高だという結論に至ることを知ってるからそれをされたんですよ。ハムジさんはそうなると思ったけど、ハムジさんはそうじゃなくて全く仏教に深入りしたからそれは問題ですね。
And so true father was saying in the beginning that because the Hyunjin is handsome, that's why he's shaving the head so that he doesn't get tempted and wearing the Buddhism clothes. And because of the Unification Church in the UTS, they study all sorts of different religions. Because the father has confidence, no matter Whatever the religion you study, you come to understand divine principle is the best theology. And so Father was hoping that Hyunjin will come to that point.
だから현재不平不満が何かというと、お父さんが理解して一部のね、誰々励ましているのに、お母さんがそれダメやと言ってる方、お母さんはお父さんとは全くの基準が違う。
So father was like embracing whatever Hyunjin was doing, but the mother was different. Mother said no.
So Mrs. Yu makes it clear that mother never accepted Hyunjinim as Chu Parent's successor. She was critical of his Buddhist ways, and she was not able to accept Hyunjinim actually going back for many, many years. We can clearly see that father and mother were not united because he believed in Hyunjinim. He saw something in Hyunjinim that was great. He saw something in Hyunjinim that was worthy of being the successor of Chu Parents. But mother didn't see that. Mother could not see what father saw. When father says that successor must be known to all the Unification Church, all the blessed couples, and the Chu Parents family, they must all unanimously accept him. Was mother united with father's words regarding Hyunjinim? I'd like to play for you two more clips where Yeonam describes how mother fired Hyunjinim from all of his positions in Korea in 2012 and then from his position in America in 2013.
Just the way Hyunjin got fired was basically, we got a phone call from Peter Kim that you are basically fired from Korean president position. And then one of the Korean headquarters staff brought the letter, paper that I'm resigning from this position. And that was, yes.
He had to sign that letter?
Yeah, he had to sign that, some kind of document, legal document, I believe it was. I'm stepping down from family fed of a Korean church and something like that. And, you know, and I remember that person actually cried in front of Hyunjin that how unjustifiedly the way he was fired was so unjustified and so shameful. That staff who brought the paper cried. He's a man, but he really cried in front of Hyunjin and said sorry that we could not do any better.
Yeah.
Or to do that. Anyway. And then a series of things, and after that we came to America, and then one by one he was laid off from the position. Hyunjin knew that at that time when we went to America, and then the atmosphere was very low, so he never did an inauguration ceremony. But that's why the way he was laid off, fired was so bizarre that there was no stepping down ceremony either. So we served basically 3 months. Mother promised us 3 years, but after that it was just we were laid off.
So then after that, what did you and he decide to do?
We came back to America, and Hyunjinim wanted to since there's no stepping down ceremony, Hyunjin wanted to at least say farewell to members, because he promised 3 years. When we did the 7 years tour, Mother promised for 3 years. So let's make this church that Chu Parents can be proud of. And he was going around to say this, and then we were just all of a sudden just disappearing out of thin air. Then it's gonna be very bizarre to our members. So what Hyunjin decided to do is, I think it was a 3-paragraph or something like that. He wrote it, and then he said, I'm gonna keep on teaching about absolute sex, and I'm gonna keep on, I was a little bit surprised by this sudden laid off, but he kept high bid. He kept a positive attitude. But the way mother received was she was so angry at this letter. She was so angry at this letter. She asked all the leaders. It was like 40 leaders, 40 major Korean leaders. She gathered them, and then we heard from somebody. Actually, one of the major leader came to our house to persuade Hyungjinim that to repent in front of mother, because she was so upset at this letter, and she cried in front of these 40 leaders, Korean leaders, that how unfilial piety he is doing this to her. So Hyungjinim was like, I just wrote a resignation letter, and then there's nothing that you can be so upset about this. But she was basically strongly demanding for apology. So, and you have to come within 3 weeks and give apology me. Then I don't know what she threatened. I don't know what she said to him. She didn't tell him directly. She sent the ambassador, so to speak, one leader, and then to convey what mother said. So basically, you have to, within three weeks, you have to come and you have to repent and all that. So after that, Hyungjinim, Hyungjinim is a good man, and he really loves mother. He really loves mother. And then I also really persuade him, let's go to Korea, and it's not good to really make mother angry and all that. So Hyungjin did go to mother, and then did go to mother. But, it's when I look back, I was such a coward. I'm just when I look back, I'm very shameful for what I did. But Hyungjinim, when I almost like, honey, don't say anything to mother, because I know his opinion, what he's gonna say. Don't say anything. Just you just show your face, and then I came. If I feel any of your feeling, I'm sorry, and we just come out, and that's all we need to do, okay? But Hyungjinim, of course, Hyungjinim did not do that. But I want to really, we want to say this. Hyungjinim was so respectful to mother. He actually kneeled down in front of mother and he hugged her while he's talking about this. He told mother that, mother, you cannot change Cheonseongjang. You cannot change name of God, mother. I love you, but you cannot do this. If you do this, the church will divide, mother. I'm so sorry to say this to you. If you come to, America, and then if you want to meet me, I want to buy you McDonald's and what you want me to buy for you. But you know what? I cannot do something that I believe that is not right. I cannot do something that I go against what I promised Father. I cannot do it. And then his pastor was very humble. He was very humble. The sister in the back, his daughter-in-law is a father, and then the couple staff, the sister staff, and then they also cried too. And then they thanking Hyungjinim for what he did, because mother was so upset about this, and she made it such a big thing, and because she called all the leaders. But Hyungjinim really embraced her, and he was in America. He went to Korea, and then he really tried to embrace mother.
And finally, I have one more clip where Yeonim describes Hyunjin's efforts to reconcile with mother and her rejection of those efforts.
2013, he also went to see mother. On Father's Ascension, around that time, he went to see mother, and then he said the same thing to mother too again. I was so afraid of mother's wrath. I couldn't say anything. I was totally froze. I was just looking at the floor. But Hyungjinim said, mother, you cannot do this. You cannot change Father's words. He said that repeatedly, same thing again. and then I can't remember when it was, but he met mother again in the Las Vegas, one-on-one, and he met mother again. He said same thing again to mother. You cannot do this. If you do this, you will split the church, and then the father will not be happy. But she was very sure. She was so sure that father is happy about what she's doing, and her spirit is so pure, and she mentioned that Umo told her that her spirit is so pure, and then father's rejoicing in the spirit world, and after and couple of times Hyungjin also called mother for Mother's Day, and he sends flower for her birthday, things like that. But we met her in Las Vegas. In the middle of a conversation, she just walked out. Yeah, and then when we called to the Mother's Day, and Hyungjin says, Hyungjin actually said, "I love you, mother," but she said, "I'm in the meeting, I have to go," and she said, "I can't answer your phone call," and she just I'm busy, and she walked out. And then when we went to Cheongpyeong last year, 2014, around the father's ascension time, and mother refused to see him. She said she has a meeting. Unless you attend the father's ascension ceremony, show up your face, I'm not gonna meet you. So we couldn't meet him. We couldn't meet her because at that time, what they did in the father's ascension ceremony, they wanted to put out the. They wanted to put out the Cheonilguk constitution that they made, Cheongpyeong made. So Hyungjin said, "I cannot. If I be there, that means I'm agreeing with the law that goes against the father's will. That I'm agreeing with that law, so I cannot participate in that." So.
Mother rejected Hyunjin's efforts to reconcile with her. And as proof of his loyalty to her, she demanded that he disavow and disobey father's clear words and directions. What kind of mother does that? I'd like to just think about any mother that you know. And imagine that mother tells her children, she says, "Children, if you want to be loyal to me, you have to disobey your father." What kind of mother would do that? And wouldn't you think that if there was such a mother who was saying that about the father, wouldn't you think that they were headed for divorce? Wouldn't you think that there's something wrong with that couple? What was more important than helping her own son? Well, now we know what was more important. Declaring herself as the sinless only begotten daughter with the authority to change her husband's words, change father's covenants, change the blessing and family pledge, and declaring that she was the source of blessing. That was more important to mother than helping her own son to succeed. Despite very clear evidence, Tyler and the Family Federation continued to say true parents are one, despite very clear indication that they are not. And this, I'm not happy to say this. This is very painful. But one thing that we all need to realize is that Hyunjin followed his conscience. He didn't ask for money. He left the palace. He wasn't fighting over church assets. He wanted to follow his conscience. He wanted to follow his father's words, even if it meant giving up everything. Shouldn't he deserve our respect, at least for that? even if you think he's making too big a deal about being obedient to Father's words, even if you think he's making too big a deal about respecting the blessing pledge and family pledge and following Father's direction, shouldn't you at least acknowledge that he is following his conscience to be obedient to Father's will? And if that's true, then isn't it shameful for people like Andy Wilson and Larry Moffat and others to give mockery and contempt, and to talk about Hyunjin as the boy king and to speak in a very disrespectful way? You know, brothers and sisters, Father chose to have many of his children born in America. There was a reason for that. I believe that Father expected that we as American brothers and sisters would protect his children and support his children to carry on his work, you know, when he went to the spiritual world. All of us can be grateful that Mother loyally followed Father for many, many decades. So all of us are indebted to her for that. But Father foresaw the possibility that Mother might not lift him up after he went to the spiritual world. That is why Father appointed his heir and successor in 2009. And he gave the full authority of true parents to his youngest son and his wife. Please pray about these things that I've been sharing. And to conclude, I'd like to read a Bible quote and also a quote from Father's words. But blessed are your eyes because they see, and your ears because they hear. And then from the Chunsangyang, the last 6 millennia have been a history of seeking and recreating one Adam. Eve cannot be created without Adam. That is why God is creating one man, Adam. That is why you must follow me. You know, Tyler, you were the American president. You more than most brothers and sisters were there and were speaking to Father face to face. Tyler, don't forget Father. Don't forget Father's expectation. And brothers and sisters, there was a reason why Father chose to have his children born in America. As the elder son nation, that we would be able to bring all the people of the world to unite with him and with his lineage. Father expected that we would protect and support the one person in the true family that he said was qualified to be his heir and successor. So let's do that. Let's do that. Thank you for listening, and may God bless you and your family. Good night.